This episode on In the Kitchen with Daddy is a viewer's request. This came from Rachael. She shared a video of a pastry product called Apple Rose. So this one is on a difficulty scale. I say this one's pretty much up there for kids' sake, having the kids do it. But we were able to do a couple things to make this a little easier. In the freezer section, it took me a little while to run this down, but this is the key here. This is called pastry sheets. And yes, you can make this, but like I said, that makes this a whole different level of difficulty if you make this part from scratch. So we bought it frozen so the kids would be able to do it. And now Tahira is preparing the apple slices, and she's gonna I showed her off camera how to use the knife and to keep her hand away from the edge of the knife, and she's going to prepare the slices for us. The first thing, we need to get the apple slices as thin as possible. The variety of apple that I use is called Apple Honey Crisp. It's a fairly expensive apple, but it tastes delicious. And I also read that they bake very well. So we're gonna stay here and prep the apples, and we'll be back. All right, we have our apple slices prepared, and they are in water with a half a lemon juice, and then we've microwaved them for 3 minutes. I microwaved them for about 5 minutes because we were using a lot more apples than the original recipe called for. So I microwaved them a little bit longer to make sure that they are going to be soft like we need them. So the next step is we're going to prepare the pastry. Okay, so we're going to roll out the pastry. So Tahira, in preparation of that, we put a little flour on the table. She put a lot of flour on the table because I wasn't watching. So we got the flour on the table. Go ahead and prepare your rolling pin. And let's get the pastry rolled out, the sheet rolled. Apply even pressure as you roll. Again, you're trying to stretch it. Roll toward, yeah, there you go. Towards you some. There you go. Now turn sideways and roll towards the edges. There you go. Very good. Now, the recipe called for apricot preserves. I substituted with simply fruit apricot spread. So we're going to do 2 tablespoons of the apricot. And the ratio is to 1 tablespoon of water. So we're going to do a tablespoon of water. Pour over your bowl in case you run over. All right, now we're going to mix that. Mix it good. Okay, we have the apples prepared and the pastry is ready. So the first thing we're going to do is spread out some of the apricot preserve on the pastry. Also make a note, what you're looking for in the microwave, with microwaving the apples, is you're trying to soften them for this step. We learned that a few off camera. The apples weren't soft enough. So when we tried to do this step, it made it very hard to get it done. So now we're going to layer the apples. Again, it was very important in the beginning that you cut your apple slices thin for this step to roll. It makes them easier to roll. So the cutting thin and softening them in the microwave. And the lemon juice was basically to keep the apples from turning brown, to keep this nice color. So now we're going to add some cinnamon. And for this step, I would have used cinnamon sugar. I just couldn't locate the bottle that we had, so we're using straight cinnamon. That's enough. You don't want to use a lot. A little cinnamon goes a long way. Okay, so you want to fold the bottom of the pastry over. Bring it halfway up your apples. And then from the end, we're going to start rolling it up, like you roll up a pear. And on this step, the apple is trying to squish out of the top. So you kind of got to like push the apple in as you roll. Again, the little 30-second videos, they make all of this stuff seem so easy, but it's a lot of little tricks and gotchas that a longer video like this can help you get through. So now we have them nice and rolled. Great job. So, and let's turn it over and get it in the cupcake pan. We're going to work on the other ones. We'll be back. Okay, we have rolled them up and cleaned up a little bit. This was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. It is definitely something that's going to take practice to learn how to do. So again, it got easier as we did it. The first couple ones were a little rough. Issues with the apples trying to squeeze out, the sauce squeezing out. It's not holding together properly. We didn't cut the slices thin enough on some of them. We didn't have them in the microwave long enough, so they weren't soft, they weren't rolling properly. But again, after we worked out some of the kinks, it did become easier. So we're going to put them in the oven. I hope they taste as good as they look. Make it worth all the trouble, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll be back. Okay, we're back. They're out of the oven. And I let them cook a little too long, so we almost lost them all after all that hard work. But we got them out the oven, and they look good. So go ahead, Tahira, take a bite. Again, it's like an apple pastry almost now. Very interesting. How's it taste?
It's good.
Okay, so again, this was a viewer's choice. Thank you, Rachael, for recommending the dish, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Bye.
Bye.